What is up, guys? Rick Kackis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just been released, and this is actually the first one of 2020. There was a pretty long hiatus between this and the previous weekly update, so we've got some new information today. It's all official, so let's get started. But real quick, for the next 72 hours, if you use my affiliate code KHD on advanced GG products, which I use and love, you get 20% off instead of 10. Just thought I would mention it. Now, the main thing to happen this week definitely was the release of the brand new Devil's Ruin exotic quest, and obviously, therefore, the Devil's Ruin exotic sidearm. Now, the quest is incredibly easy, incredibly easy. If you haven't done it, go and do it. You can, complete it solo in a matter of minutes. Now, there is some definite disappointment from the community around this quest, people feeling like there just wasn't enough content, but that's a separate issue. We'll talk about that at another time, but the main thing is that the weapon itself is actually quite powerful. I've done videos taking it through both the Last Wish raid and the Garden of Salvation raid. Whenever a new exotic comes out, I'm always spammed with review videos, but it's all PvP, so I always like to take it through those endgame PvE activities. It's really fun to see how some of these weapons fare against raid bosses and so on, so check those out if you guys haven't. But moving on from there, another kind of main thing happening this week is that this is the final week of the Dawning. So if you haven't baked those cookies, if you haven't upgraded those exotic sparrows, and most importantly, I would say, if you haven't made the most of that insane experience gains that are involved with the Dawning, definitely do so this week. For any of you who may not know, the Dawning bounties award double XP, and especially if you're just kind of playing the game normally and stocking up on essence, you can kind of go on a baking spree and buy a bunch of the additional bounties, deliver all those cookies to the right sources, go and grab more, deliver more, and just farm the heck out of experience, level up your season's pass, increase your light level if you haven't. So get that done this week. However, moving on from there, Bungie talked about something that is extremely important and is always on the mind for you PvP players out there, and that is cheaters. Ever since Destiny 2 has gone free to play, the cheaters have been absolutely everywhere. In fact, cheaters was one of my things on my top 5 worst things of Destiny 2 for 2019 list because it's honestly gotten insane. And unfortunately, although there's often super obvious and egregious examples of cheating, even on leaderboards, like people are so obviously in positions where they were cheating, they seem to have no consequences. Well, Bungie actually came out with a statement kind of today saying, you know what, we are gonna start cracking down. So this is fantastic news. In fact, something else that happened this week was a somewhat sizable Twitch streamer got banned, cried out that it was unfair. A bunch of people came to his aid saying, oh, this guy's really good, he's been false reported. There was a big kerfuffle blaming Bungie. And then Bungie came in and said that they actually found that this guy was having alternate accounts that were DDoSing people, like they were hitting people offline. So this guy is 100% a cheater, but that's kind of the first high profile takedown, and hopefully Bungie kind of ramps this up and continues this process going forward. So they say that the game security team has been improving Destiny's anti-cheat functionality, which detects players violating any of Bungie's restrictions and ban policies. The anti-cheat improvements will result in more players receiving restrictions and bans. They say historically, Bungie has not given players the ability to appeal a restriction or ban because all restrictions and bans are already reviewed by a trained Bungie employee. However, going forward, we will be providing a resource for players to appeal a restriction or ban. More details will be available on our appeal contact form, which will be posted soon. And they say if you ever encounter someone cheating, please use the in-game tool, and that frivolous appeals will not be considered. Additionally, not all appeals are guaranteed to be responded to by a Bungie employee. So this again is extremely big news, and I think the main takeaway is the fact that they're changing their policy to, again, before you could not appeal because they absolutely made sure you were cheating without a shadow of a doubt before banning people. Now there is an appeal process, and what that says to me is they're going to be banning way more people. In fact, they may even have some like automatic systems in place where if it senses you, teleporting around the map, which you can find people doing that in PvP, like if it senses you do that, instantly bans by a system rather than a person. Alright, moving on from there, if you want to get some exclusive in-game loot and also support a good cause, Bungie is going to be selling a t-shirt where the proceeds are going to help the absolutely horrific Australian wildfires, and they say to keep an eye on next week's weekly update where they're going to be unveiling this t-shirt, but this they're showing off is the exclusive emblem you can get if you do take part in this by buying the shirt, supporting a great cause, getting in-game loot. Everyone wins. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is that the Worm God Caress exotic gauntlets have been disabled temporarily due to the fact that they would retain their increased melee damage after its intended timer cooldown, allowing players to easily defeat raid bosses. So if you didn't know, essentially you would stack up Worm God Caress and then use the Telesto, of course, to shoot the ground and get roaring flames by throwing a grenade on it, because the Telesto projectiles blowing up would count as enemies, and then you'd switch to the Syncoceps like instantly, which can't really do on console. That's a whole nother can of worms. And then you would take down raid bosses with hammers in literally seconds. So that was a bit ridiculous, and so if you can't put on your Worm God Caress, that's why. Okay guys, and that is it for this week's new Destiny 2 news. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at @RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.